Mikey, welcome.
Awesome. This is a cool setup. So are we like live to everyone, or is
We're
this
we're
like
live. We're live right now
We
because I
are
had to go
live.
live to make sure I captured the streams.
that's extremely live?
Yeah.
Wow.
It is also live on on Discord. It's all good. I just saw it. It's working.
Cool.
We're just taking over.
Just
We're
running
live.
lives
Straight
everywhere.
into it. Just walk straight into a live room.
Good
Look at
times. Wow, this is a cool setup. I only did my first chat on Discord the other week, and it was audio only, and here we are now. Just
welcome.
I love that background as well. You guys had me fooled for a second. I was like, hang on a minute.
Well, because for some reason the virtual background on this isn't as strong as it is when you use on Zoom. So it's like my room's a mess behind me. So it's I don't want
I'm
anyone
actually
looking
looking
at my
for
room.
photos of my studio right now.
Obviously, welcome, Mike. Lovely to see your face. We chatted at the start of the year, just caught up briefly. You've been to South by Southwest this year. That's your second time now?
Third time.
Third time.
But the first time I was actually invited. The first two I just gate crashed.
So yeah, you were an official speaker at this year's South by Southwest. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Two books in the bag. Now a speaker at South by Southwest. A LinkedIn official, like LinkedIn creator now. Or the Accelerator program, is that what it's called?
Yeah, so I was part of the Creator Accelerator program, a 10-week program. They basically give you all the tools. They tell you to keep doing what you're doing and give you all the support you need. But now that's over, I'm also a LinkedIn learning instructor. So I'm scripting my first course right now, which is pretty cool.
That's amazing.
I never thought I'd get excited about LinkedIn, but it's completely changed to what it was when I was looking for a job fresh out of high school.
Honestly, it's Facebook 10 years ago.
Yeah.
It's back to business over at LinkedIn instead of it just being a, kind of like an executive website. Now it's just like anyone that wants to talk business and be an entrepreneur can head to LinkedIn and communicate basically and connect with people. And there's a lot of amazing creative writers there. You can really get some like solid information via LinkedIn, which is just good. It's just good to have another place to hang out and see those kind of things.
For sure, yeah. There's just people dropping gold on there, and it's cool because they want to flex their expertise and let people know what they know. And at the same time, they're helping people in the comments, and it's like, I don't know. It's nice to see. People are becoming less hesitant to go up and just ask someone a question now. They're becoming more approachable, I guess.
Yeah, for sure. Today, obviously, we've got you on as you are a two-time author, talking about streaming services, playlisting, etc., best practices. Did you want to go through? Did you have a slide prepared for today, or did you just want to talk?
It's totally up to you. I mean, if I pull out my slide deck, we could be here for hours. I know. I mean, like it's not that sexy. I mean, I try, but if I need to, I'll bring some stuff up on the screen as well.
Yeah, for sure. Well, let's just kick it off. Like maybe introduce yourself to everyone. Talk a little bit about what you've done and where you're at currently.
Yeah, cool. So I'm Mike Warner. I'm currently the Director of Artist, Label, and DSP Relations at Chartmetric, and I'm also the author of the book Work Hard, Playlist Hard. I also make music with two mates back in Australia, Sharif in Brisbane and Anders in Adelaide. Our group is called Date Night. And I mean, that's the short version, but I guess the longer version is started as a DJ, got into music production, couldn't get signed to labels with the new project, so went independent, started hustling that, moved to the United States, spent a lot of time learning about music streaming, realized that I enjoy helping and sharing all of this even more than actually making music and playing. And so completely shifted my goals from wanting to live out of a suitcase and travel the world to wanting to talk essentially. And here we are.
Yeah, sick.
That's awesome. I didn't know that you've got a group with Sharif. That's awesome.
Yeah, Sharif Demanstia in Brisbane.
Yeah.
What artist
player.
name is Sharif D. So
Yeah.
he's also in Sax Drive with Josh, who runs Prohibition, and he's collaborated with a bunch of other people. Buster as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, legend.
I'm actually Josh, who is Apollo, is working. He's going through JMC Academy at the moment, and I'm going to. He just sent me a bunch of questions as a booking agent that I've got to answer as part of his studies, like just as research into like the industry. Just must be another module of their of the work that they've got to do over there. So yeah, we're like Jai's from Brisbane as well. So Jai actually runs Diffuse Studios in Brisbane. So he's a massive part of the Brisbane scene there.
I'm looking for a photo right now to put as my background. I think we've caught up on Clubhouse once before.
Yeah,
Mike. I think that's where we've crossed paths before. So
yeah, Clubhouse. That was a fun time.
little
I have to be honest. I'm not knocking Clubhouse at all, but are people still using it much? Because
yeah,
I'm not.
It's
so I
still
don't know.
quite active, but it's not
Cool.
what it used to be. I think they missed the boat on a few things, but
It's
it's still
definitely split. It's split between Twitter Spaces now and
Yeah.
Clubhouse.
Yeah, Twitter Spaces is an interesting one because, on Clubhouse, you go on stage, you start talking, people follow you, but that's only in Clubhouse. On Twitter, you do it, people are following you on Twitter, then they're capturing everything that you're doing throughout the day, all the tweets that you're posting. So, I mean, I can see why it's more valuable as well. And it's one less app, which is nice.
Yeah, that's it.
One less app is always good.
100%.
To sort of get us into it, like I think the best, the most valuable kind of stuff is just going to be the current streaming platforms and where, they're, whether it be best practices, whether it be how to get the most out of them, just things you've learned over the last 12 months, I think is going to probably be where our audience is going to appreciate the most value, like get the most value from.
Yeah, cool.
If you sort of want to, hey, there's a studio. If you sort of want to start with the big dogs, like Spotify, Apple Music, trends you've seen with artists, etc., over the last 12 months.
Totally. You know what? I am going to.
Oh, he's going to open the deck. Here we go.
I was about to say it, and then I said it in my head. I went, "Nah, I'm not going to say it like that." Yeah, but essentially, I've got it here. I'm ready to whip it out. So,
yeah, cool. I'll go to you.
Let me hopefully press that button. And did you guys just disappear, by the way, or?
No, we're here.
Wow, that's so weird. I'm just looking at my own mug now. Cool. And I've actually got my face in the deck.
There you go. I've switched to the deck.
Yeah, awesome. Because what I've got is, so let me see how this is going to look. Yeah. Essentially what I did is I put live video in the keynote presentation.
Oh yeah, cool.
So I'm not gonna give you my backstory again. We've already covered date night. That's us rehearsing for our debut gig at Prohibition many years ago. But let's jump ahead here. So platform stuff. Let's do it. Platform stuff. Amazon Music. So for anyone that isn't aware, Amazon Music for Artists launched in early 2020, artists.amazon.com. They have an app as well. A few cool features with Amazon Music is they have a Twitch integration. So if you go live on Twitch, you can also connect that to your artist page in Amazon Music, and you'll go live within both apps simultaneously. And I've done this with date night. And even if I'm playing Grand Theft Auto on the PlayStation, it will go live to both. But they're totally cool with it because they're like, hey, artists do other shit. They don't just do a DJ set or break down a track in the studio or things like that. So connecting the two sends a notification to people that follow you on either app. And when you go live within Amazon Music, it shows on the top of your artist profile. But they also feature the live streams on the homepage from time to time as well. So definitely worth doing that. And Amazon Music have editorial pitching now, which not everyone seems to be familiar with, but similar to how you pitch editorial playlists within Spotify for artists, you can now do this with Amazon Music for artists as well. So you can pitch any tracks that are coming out in the future, but a nice bonus is you can actually pitch a track that came out in the last 14 days. So if you dropped a track yesterday, you've still got time to go and fill out that pitch form in the Amazon Music for Artists app. And that is going to put it forward for editorial playlist consideration, but also programming within radio. Amazon has a very strong radio focus. They've even got a separate app that they've just released here in the US called AMP, AMP, where you can host your own live radio station. People can call in and you can play music all within the app. So there's a strong focus on interactive radio moving forward as well. And Amazon also let you sell merch directly within the app. You can sign up at merch.amazon.com, create your own merch, and then you can connect that to your artist page. But you will also have an artist store on Amazon.com, as you can see here for Mary J. Blige.
Amazon are really just doing, the right thing by artists at the moment. That's for sure.
Oh, they're killing it. Totally. Yeah. And let's jump along. So we got Apple Music. So Apple Music, obviously, absolutely killing it around the world, right up there with Spotify and Amazon Music and YouTube as far as subscriber base. A couple of things in Apple Music that people aren't aware of. The first one is pre-ads. So similar to pre-saves, if you will, but these are actually native within the Apple Music app. So to show you what this looks like, this is Alicia Keys. Obviously, I screen recorded this before her last album came out. So the way that you can set this up is through your distributor, you would say, hey, I've got a bunch of tracks. I've got an album coming out and I'd like to make some of those tracks available as instant gratification tracks. So what you can see here is those tracks are available to stream immediately, even though the album is not yet out.
That's
People
cool.
can listen to those tracks, add them to their playlists, click add, and add that album to their library. And then the cool part is that by doing that, anytime new tracks from that album are released, they will get a notification from Apple Music or on their smart speaker, whatever, letting them know there's more tracks from this album available to listen to now. And not only that, but it does the exact same thing in iTunes, where if people pre-order your album, those tracks will be available immediately for download before the album is released. And so you can do that with your distributor. Just say, I have an album coming out. I've uploaded my album. I would like to make these specific songs available as instant gratification tracks.
Sick.
And yeah, and just to add on that is that a lot of people say that they don't see iTunes anymore. So there's actually a setting in the Apple Music app on your computer to turn iTunes on. And the iTunes app does still exist on phones and iPads as well. But on the desk, on your MacBook, if you will, it's going to be in the Music app, and then you're going to go to the settings and turn on iTunes. I just fully busted into presentation mode here. Tell me if you guys think this is cool or not. I didn't mean to hijack.
Yeah, no. This is it. Obviously, I just wanted to get, do a bit shorter than we did last time and just make sure we get the highlights of what's happened sort of in the last 12 months and anything that artists are missing. And then we can sort of go into some questions.
Yeah. I'm going to skim through some of these, but these ones are pretty cool. So these are Apple Music milestones. So basically they create shareable images for you that you can post directly on your socials. These can be things
sick.
Like, yeah, because I suck at creating artwork. So I'm like,
most artists do, man. Don't worry.
Yeah. But these are things like you get added to an editorial playlist. You get a large number of Shazams. You hit 100,000 streams on your catalog, whatever it is. And so just to show you what it looks like, this is in the Apple Music for Artists app. You'll see the milestones and you tap a few buttons and it generates the text for you, a link and the artwork, and you just press share. It's like takes all the pain away
Moments,
of
yeah.
creating artwork, working out what to say, and grabbing the right link. So I think it's pretty cool, and it's one of those features that I don't think everyone is aware of yet.
Hmm.
No, I didn't know about it.
Awesome. So yeah, let me jump ahead. So we got, and these are Twitter audio cards. So I know, like, obviously a lot of you are still heavily active on Twitter, and these audio cards, these are provided directly from Apple. They allow you to have a 30-second preview of your track that people can play within their Twitter feed without leaving Twitter. And what's cool about that is they can then tap the button, listen to the song in full on Apple Music. But if you're an Apple affiliate, which is free to sign up, of course, you can include your Apple affiliate token. And if somebody listens to your song, taps that link, goes into Apple Music, and then subscribes, you get a bounty. And that's anywhere between $2 to $5. In addition to that person streaming your track, which is 0.001 cents, it adds up. And it's like, this is provided to you directly from Apple. They don't show this in the Apple Music for Artists app. It's a separate website.
I'm surprised I haven't seen more of those in my feed before. It's really interesting.
And it's cool because it includes the artwork. It has, as you can see in this screenshot, it has the play button below, and then people tap and it launches directly into Apple Music. But yeah, that making a bounty or making an affiliate commission on that, it's pretty cool because you get paid for the stream, but you also get paid if someone signs up as a result. And you can do the same with Amazon Music, I should mention, if you're an affiliate. I always say, if you're sharing a link to your music on Amazon Music, make it an affiliate link because they'll pay a few bucks if someone subscribes as well.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, let's jump through a few of these. All right, there's a couple of quick ones.
Oh, yeah,
sorry, you go.
I was just going to say, did you, because it would have only just come out, so it might not be in your slides, Spotify Stories was something also I wanted to bring up. Have you seen that?
I don't have Spotify Stories queued up.
I figured you wouldn't because it literally only came out last week.
Yeah, look, there's been a few things. There's Amazon Music have spotlights where you can record a message and play it to your fans through their Alexa device, but you have to have at least 3,000 people following you first. Yeah. So I'm like, okay, let's wait until they lower that number. More artists can actually test that feature out before I start telling everyone about it.
But Spotify Stories is the same. They've only opened it up to like the cream of the crop, essentially, haven't they?
Yeah, I mean, it's basically saying let's give it to artist teams for established artists first, get them using it, and then we'll give it to everyone else. So
I think why I like the feature so much is because it's kind of allowing artists to understand how easy content can be for social media. Like I feel like that's the gap that's been missing previously is like the disconnect in a sense is like where an artist should just be using social media to tell their story rather more so than worrying about doing a dance on TikTok. Like why don't you just talk about it, your individual songs a bit more and tell the story about how you created them, who you were in the studio with, what you were feeling that day. Which is the stories, like the behind the scenes that we really want to hear about and know about more so than, everything else.
Yeah, totally. And yeah, I mean, it's the same. You've got YouTube stories, you've got, TikTok, there's a lot of different ways that people can share their story. And it's interesting seeing that coming to the music streaming platforms as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm excited to play with that further, and it will be interesting to see what that looks like. Are we going to start to see a 30-second behind the scenes video of a track right after we listen to it in Spotify? Are they going in that direction, or is it going to be like Canvas where it's just, no audio, but it's a visual loop that you'll see while you're watching that? So I'm interested to sit back. I mean, there was a time where Spotify had a video section years ago where they actually had original video content in Spotify. They had TV shows that were 10 minutes long, and they pulled that out at some point. And then now they have video podcasts. So every time I record my podcast, I record a video, upload that in Anchor to Spotify, and then on all the other podcast apps, it's audio only. But yeah, it's interesting to see they're just trying to own audio right now. I mean, they purchased another audiobook distributor called Findaway recently, and that distributes to about 40 different audiobook stores around the world. So they're just like, let's take what we can.
For sure.
Yeah. So this one I was going to share is spotifycodes.com. So this is another one where it will create, obviously it will use the artwork of your podcast episode on Spotify, your track, artist, album, etc. But these are codes that can be scanned directly in the Spotify app that will launch right into that piece of content. So instead of saying, hey, go search for, date night on Spotify, it's the picture of the dudes with their heads pressed together like one person, and they're on a couch, and that's us, and then go follow us. You could just go, hey, open the Spotify app, tap that little icon and point it at this code, and it will launch straight into that for you. And then the other one they have is similar to the Apple Music milestones that I shared before. Spotify have a site they've created, which is promocards.byspotify.com. And so these are custom graphics. You can change the color, the size, whether it's square, portrait, or landscape. And these will be milestones on charts, new releases, editorial playlist ads, and reaching a certain amount of followers on Spotify. And once again, they create the artwork for you. They give you a link so that you can just share that immediately. And they do it for new releases as well. Like we did this for a release last year. So we had something to share on socials instead of just the artwork.
Cool.
Yep. And then they do have their integration with Shopify. Shopify and Spotify became best friends. And you can list your merch that you sell on Shopify within Spotify. Fuck, that's a tongue twister. But yes, that is live now as well. And what was there? YouTube Music. And then I promise I'm going to stop going full presenter mode here. But YouTube Music, I guess the main thing that they changed is YouTube Shorts. So pretty much, I mean, it's very similar to Instagram Reels or TikTok. There's short videos that the way that you post these currently is you have the YouTube app on your phone. You log in as the admin of a channel or a brand. And then you have the option with the plus button in the bottom, in the middle, to upload that short pieces of content that will show. And they do show on your YouTube channel as well. And I found the engagement is actually pretty solid. I've had more people viewing the 15-second clips on YouTube Shorts than I've had on a 10-minute video that I feel provides way more value.
Yeah, just to kind of add more value there for everyone. Jai and I in particular know, and having listened to a lot of smart, podcasts that we usually find out about social media, is some creators are even creating shorts channels on their own because they wanted to test out the engagement. And as far as shorts is concerned, and on YouTube, and as far as they're concerned, is that they're seeing it. The growth is almost like it was back 10 years ago on YouTube for shorts. So if you were to even just as lazily as upload your TikToks or your Reels as shorts on YouTube, you're looking at really high potential growth on a channel that you might want more followers on and more subscribers on. So yeah, like it can be just as simple as you transferring those videos over onto YouTube Shorts and seeing runs on the board in that sense. Yeah.
And it's like anything with these new features, get on early and get a head start, because I mean, I wish I signed on to TikTok the first time that was available and just started posting, because people are hungry to see, how does this work? What can I get on here? But yeah, I'm seeing that with YouTube Shorts, and I mean, look, you don't even have to create something new for it, as long as it's not obvious that it was originally created for TikTok or Instagram. Just go and upload it. Absolutely. And I get more engagement on YouTube Shorts than TikTok. I mean, that's not saying much for me, but that's where it's at for me right now.
You need to get those dances going.
They've just
Yeah.
just as another note as well, they've just released TikTok stories as well, which is insane because we all consider TikTok already short enough, and video related, but they've released TikTok stories now, and you can access. Not everyone can access them. I think it's just staggered accounts again, as they do when they release new features. But again, everyone that's using TikToks is saying that stories on TikTok are being pushed exponentially bigger than anything else on the platform, as they do with any new feature. So if you see it on your profile and you're an artist, I suggest just filming what you would normally film on TikTok as your stories and using that. So
Is the only
Totally.
difference that it doesn't stay?
it disappears.
Yeah,
They're just
cool.
doing the same as Instagram.
Yep. Sweet.
And on the opposite side of that, it's interesting. LinkedIn added stories, then removed it and realized we don't need this noise. And then TikTok had fleets, and then they decided, no.
Twitter, you
stick
mean?
with what we're good at.
Yeah, Twitter had fleets, didn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And speaking of Twitter, for anyone that's not aware, there's this little cache icon that appears on Twitter profiles now. So they have a tips feature where you can turn it on. So a lot of artists were doing this in the last 2 years when they weren't necessarily touring as much. But short version is, if you turn it on, people can tip you directly, and you can add Bandcamp, you can add your Bitcoin address, Cash App, Patreon, Venmo as well. So it's just something that if you're not aware, go and turn it on and try it out, because sometimes people like to throw money at you.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah,
honestly, that's good for Twitter Spaces. Like people would, probably, if you've given them some kind of value in person, they might, want to give you a tip. So that can, that's something that could be useful there for artists.
Well, it could even be something as simple as whoever, if we get 10 tips over the next hour, we'll give away some free merch. Blah, blah, blah. You can utilize it.
Some marketing ideas going.
Yeah, mate. I got that's why I get the big bucks.
I've seen people do things like I'm working on my next album, and I'd love to be able to book a studio for the vocalist. If anyone wants to contribute, you can tip directly on the profile and things like that. I mean, look, it doesn't hurt to ask. And, legit fans probably wouldn't mind throwing a few bucks your way. So yeah, if you just say, look, I'm trying to get drunk on Friday night, send me some money for beer, that could go really well. Or people could say, nah, you don't really need help.
Come on, guys, come on, let me in.
Yeah. The only other one I wanted to share while I've got this up, I guess it's much more relevant because of TikTok and YouTube stories and everything else now. And obviously these are slides I pre-created for something else, but audio preview start times for your music. Yeah, that's my mug. The whole thing about these is, as everyone always says, why do I set an audio preview start time for my track when I'm uploading it with my distributor? And their understanding is it's just for iTunes preview or Beatport preview or whatever. But the reality is that preview start time is actually the start time for the audio for Instagram Reels, YouTube Stories, and TikTok. So, I mean, you talk about one of the most recognizable parts of a track in the last few years from Lizzo. And you imagine if that wasn't queued up to exactly that point, I just took a DNA test, people wouldn't be using that in their videos because it's too hard for them. They don't want to scroll through that waveform to find that part of the track. So definitely doing that and actually setting that preview start time is crucial for social media if you're wanting people to use your music in this content on all these platforms as well.
Fun fact on that Lizzo track as well. She actually released it. Was it like 3 years prior?
Yeah.
Before it actually came, before we all, the greater public knew it. I was playing it on a radio station 3 years before that because it came out and then they re-released it. Because I presume she didn't have the right starting position on her track on on Spotify and iTunes.
It's so crazy. And I don't know if it's just me, but when I hear these tracks in their entirety now, it's almost like that section that everyone recognizes from TikTok sounds different. It's like it's just somehow been detached from the song, and you're like, I don't know how to describe it, but it's like I hear that clearer than anything else. It's crazy. But yeah, adding the preview start time. This is a screenshot from DistroKid, how you can do it. So definitely take the time and do that. It's a lot easier to do it when you're uploading the track than it is to go back and try and reach out to the support team at your distributor and say, can I upload the preview start times for all of these tracks?
They're gonna hate you.
Yeah, look, most of the time they probably won't respond after you've asked too much. But yeah, I busted out the deck.
Yeah,
I skipped about 65 slides.
That's all right. Awesome. We just wanted a quick catch up. Something just lost what I was going to say. That's all right.
I got a question then.
Yeah.
So when we upload our tracks and stuff like that through DistroKid or something, a lot of these individual features you're talking about on these other platforms, you have to go and claim your account or set up your account through those platforms and then do all those things individually, don't you? It's not like you can just do it all through your distributor. You have to sort of take that time, right?
Yeah. I actually had a little bit of a vent about this a while ago because, yes, I will tell artists what you need to do to claim your profile on all of these platforms. But it also frustrates me that there's no way that distributors, when they're pushing these new songs with all of the metadata, the artwork, all this information, that they couldn't just push a bio and a photo of the artist with that and just go, fucking upload it, please. It's still cool to have these tools. Totally. I still log into all of the tools, all of the 4 artist tools, but it would be nice to know that when you're pushing that new track, if you want to update your profile photo and your bio at the same time, you could just upload that in the form and it would get updated on all of those platforms. There is no way to do that in bulk at this time unless you want to pay someone to just do it for you.
Yeah.
Which I've seen some people do because they just say, I don't have time to log into all of these platforms and copy and paste this.
Yeah. Oh, well, I've got some work to do then today.
Roll up your sleeves. We do have a bunch of questions. I think I sent some of them over to you the other day. But these are from our Project DJ fam. Love you guys. Some of the holders. This is like a kind of playlisting one. Just what's your thoughts with the increasing influence of social media app TikTok, which we were just talking about. Does it make sense for artists to continue spending money, time on Spotify playlisting services, or should that budget be allocated elsewhere? Example, Facebook, Instagram ads, TikTok ads, etc.
Yeah, it's an interesting one because I've never really been big on talking about running ads, mostly because I'm far from an expert on ads as such. But as far as
what's your gut tell you?
What's that?
What's your gut tell you?
Well, look, investing in playlists, as long as you're not buying streams, that's a whole nother conversation, and that's going to lead to your music getting taken down. But if you're paying a service like Submit Hub or Playlist Push, and you're paying for people to listen to your music, regardless of if they add it or not, you can get a few little wins on the board there for sure. But I've seen people invest that same amount of money into TikTok. And obviously there's a number of services now, but the ones that I've seen the best results are ones where they will go to the creators and say, here is what you need to put in your video. Here is the song you need to use. If you do this, you will get $20, $30, $40 for creating this, whatever it is, based on their following. And I've seen a much better return from that, because you still get paid when your song is used in a video on TikTok. It's, similar to what you get paid for a stream, but you're getting paid in exposure. And but what I like about getting 40 videos created on TikTok versus getting added to 40 playlists on Spotify is you have 40 pieces of content that you can post on social media, post in your stories.
Yeah, that's
awesome. These people are making stuff for you using that song.
Great
so
point.
If you don't want to be creative yourself, highlight these other creators, tag them, they'll appreciate it. And you've probably got something far more interesting than, I couldn't come up with anything like most of these people. So I would say right now TikTok is a good one, because yes, you're getting exposure on there. I know how we feel about the word exposure, but you don't have to be active.
If you're an independent
TikTok
artist
yourself, and you're getting all of those videos that you can save. Most of them you can save, I should say, and you can upload those to your stories on other platforms. Upload them to YouTube Shorts. Upload them to Instagram Reels.
I think sort of to expand on that as well, it's kind of like you hit the nail on the head, number one, I think, with what you're saying there, but it kind of expands into the fact that the reusable content factor, you can then connect for the next 12 to 18 months with those same influencers for free.
Yep.
So you've paid them, but the reusability of the content, as you said, is exponential, and they might reshare it if you share it, and you tag them in it, because they might want to still be a part of that process. And in the same instance, the potential to access people that you might not get through ad performance / ad targeting. I think you're dead on. I think you're exactly right. What do you think, Jai?
Yeah, that's awesome. I'm gonna look into that now. I'm just creating a list of things. So
all we've done is bring Jai into a power meeting now. He's like, "Yeah,
thanks, guys.
I'm in." Another question here: if you were a nobody artist, this is like a really stando question in a sense of like something that we continuously are asked, like Jai and myself as kind of leaders in the industry in Southeast Queensland. If you were a nobody artist that wanted to grow their first 1,000 fans, what would you prioritize first? And this is just, it doesn't have to be about specifically playlisting. It can be just, if you right now were starting as an artist, what would you prioritize?
Yeah. There's kind of a few things that immediately come to mind. I get excited when somebody is either starting a new artist project or releasing music for the first time, because it's like a completely fresh start.
Excellent.
And I'm like, okay, the only way is up. You're going to get excited when you get 10 monthly listeners. I can't wait when you get 1,000. But I actually had a friend do this recently, and he was making funky house music, and then he decided he wanted to start making lo-fi. And so he used a new name. And the first thing I said to him is, I said, do not start posting this on your channels to all of the people that listen to house music. And he said, why? And the reason is, the first 1,000 listeners or fans or whatever you want to call it are going to determine where your music is placed moving forward. So if you have people that listen to, I don't know, heavy metal all day, every day, and then you send them your track and it's Jack and House, you're going to start getting some really weird related artists or fans also like, and your music's going to start going to the wrong ears and they're not going to like it. So as much as you want to tell everyone, auntie, uncle, all of that, here, open up Spotify, play my track, I need to get some numbers, not until you've got past those first 1,000 listens or streams, if you will. So that you've started to feed some good, healthy information into Spotify. And this works for the other apps as well, like Amazon and all the others.
That's really interesting.
Yeah. But because I know the first thing everyone wants to do is blow those numbers up quick. They don't like seeing 0 or 1 or 2. But the reality is, once you get past that number, you can start to do little things and maybe think about gaming it without breaking any major rules, of course. But yeah, I would say what's more important is having that presence with your music as soon as you can with that first release. So I actually had someone today asking me in another call that they've got their first ever release coming out in 4 weeks, and they don't have a Spotify artist profile or Apple or anything. But what you can actually do is you can contact your distributor directly and say, I've uploaded my first release. It's coming out on this date. They can either give you a link where you can gain immediate access to your artist profile in advance with Spotify, Apple, etc., or they can at least give you the link and go, here's your Spotify link. Obviously, it goes to a blank page right now with just your name, but you can at least use this to request access in Spotify for artists. And so I've seen people do this with CD Baby, DistroKid, TuneCore, where they've actually said, I was able to get Apple Music, Amazon, Spotify, claim my profiles, upload photos, add a bio, even pitch my first ever release for editorial playlist consideration as well. And I know some people get disheartened about pitching, but just to put some hope out there, I've seen some artists where their first ever release, they filled out that pitch form on Spotify. They got on Fresh Finds. They ended up getting, significant amount of streams, and that led to getting programmed on a few other playlists a few months later as a result. And I can tell you those artists did not have anyone on the inside, and they did not have any extra help apart from that form. So it can work. The other thing I would suggest is blogs are still extremely helpful. And the ways that blogs can help is sites like Hype Machine, where they basically look at hundreds of blogs online and say, this song from this artist has been featured in these blogs. As a result, it's going into the charts for this genre of music. That is getting noticed by editors at the streaming platforms. And years ago, Athena, who created Fresh Finds at Spotify, actually said, I find music on SoundCloud. I find music on blogs because I want to find it before it's live in Spotify. So that is another way to get attention, especially with a new release where you haven't put anything out before. Get those blogs, because then you've got people talking about that track, and they don't care if you've released tracks before or not. They're just listening to it and writing how it makes them feel. And then you've got words that you can use, that you can share online, that someone else has written. And those blog posts can, as I mentioned, lead to editorial programming as well. It's another way to get their attention. And I would say it's one of the most important things that you should do with your debut release is try and get blogs, get it to blogs. And if you don't know where to start, go to Submit Hub, spend $20.
Yeah, I think it's about, it's what you said. It's like people get disheartened. It can be a real mindset issue in that kind of sense where you know something can work, but if it doesn't work for you in the first couple of tries, you become immediately lost, and you're like, you lose complete faith in the process that's been laid out in front of you. So it's kind of like you kind of have to have it revealed to you that like you just said, it does work. So just keep doing it and keep consistent, and don't be lazy with it. And like, okay, this is the process that Spotify need. They need that 4 to 6 weeks before your song comes out. So just go through that process every single time and know that that's part of your release strategy, and make it just key. Just make it part of what you do. Then you're not thinking about it, whether it works or not. It's just another thing. It's like posting something on Instagram, posting something on stories. It doesn't hit. Are you not going to post again about your music? Like that's the kind of mindset that needs to change for artists. It's like, just because it didn't work one time doesn't mean it won't work eventually. Doesn't mean it won't work ever. It's like you're just not going to promote your music ever again if it doesn't work. It's like you need to continue to push it. Otherwise, no one's just going to accidentally find your music. It will just go out into the ether eventually, and it will just not exist in the world. You need to keep on pushing it. Otherwise, no one's going to push it for you. So.
And it's that right place, right time, isn't it?
Like
you've got to
the right day of the week that you send it in.
Out there.
The right time of the day.
No one's going to see it.
And not only that, but sorry, Joe.
There you go.
I was just going to say, I mean, people concerned about how time consuming it is. It's a couple of sentences. If you can't write that, get a mate to write it for you. Play it to someone who's good with words. If you're working with, perhaps you've got a singer-songwriter that's doing top line on it. They might be much better with words than you are. And I've done this in the past. Just say to them, how would you describe this track to someone who hasn't heard it before? And copy that text, use it in the pitch form with Spotify, with Apple, with whoever else in the future. And not only that, but with these forms, even if you don't get a playlist straight away, you're still tagging all of the correct info. Actually say, when you submit to them, tell us 3 artists that sound very similar to you. And so you're actually populating that related artists immediately by doing that. And then in all of these forms, they'll say what instruments are used, what's the vibe, is it chill, happy, upbeat, and where would this music most resonate? Is it your hometown, or did you write a song about New York City but you live in Brisbane? then say that this would resonate with people in New York City. And all of that information travels with your music within these platforms, so that even if it's not on a playlist, if people are listening on endless listening mode or radio mode or whatever, your music will get delivered on those, and it will also help towards things like Discover Weekly. And I can tell you right now with Date Night, we've had 1.4 million streams from Discover Weekly, more than we've actually had being placed across 19 editorial playlists in our time. So massive. Everyone's all focused on these playlists, and it's a cool look, but in all reality, Discover Weekly is a big one. And not only that, but you mentioned the forms and getting disheartened. Out of our last 10 tracks, maybe 2 got placed on editorial, but I kept doing it. And some of those playlists, you get on them and you're on them for years. Like we've been on one called Weekend Hangouts for 2.5 years now. And it's a gift that just keeps on giving. We're like, who cares what it looks like? We're on this playlist and we're never going to get off it. And, if we were on Friday Crate Diggers, we're off the next week. If we were on Mint, like that's cool. But the reality is you could be off there in days.
Yeah, totally. Is there any, I'm just interested with Submit Hub because I've used it a few times and things. Have you got any tips for that? Are there any tips to
hacks.
sort of, any hacks for Submit Hub?
If you're sensitive, get someone else to do it for you straight up, because people are cold-blooded on there. Like sometimes it will be, killer track, killer vocals, but it's just not for me.
Yeah.
And they don't give you anything as to, is there a reason, or are you just having a bad day? So if you can get past that and just things like this sucks or feedback like that, it's clearly not helpful or constructive, then you're going to be fine. So if you're thick-skinned, you'll be fine. If not, get someone else to do this for you. But definitely what I found beneficial about Submit Hub is checking the option to see who has a Spotify playlist in addition to a blog, and who also is a blog that contributes to Hype Machine, because as we know, Hype Machine can lead to editorial playlists as well. Most of those usually will charge a few dollars to submit, and as long as they respond within 48 hours, they get paid. If not, I think you get most of that back. So it's not too much of a risk. But filling out as much detail as you can is important. A lot of these blogs, yes, you have to remember they're actually doing a favor for you. I mean, you're giving them great music to write about, but they're also writing about it, putting it in front of their audience. So if you have a following on TikTok or Instagram or wherever, let them know and just say, if this is featured, we will happily share the post here and here. I know that little things like that can help as a sweetener as well. But not only that, they want to know that you're active, that you're serious. They don't want to write about an artist that says, after
Big
this, we don't really know what we're going to do. It's like, you want to say, this is our next one. We've got an album coming out in the summer. We've got 6 more tracks slotted for the rest of the year. Really excited for you to hear this. That's what they want to hear. They're going to feed off that energy from you. So make sure you include that. And don't sell yourself short either. I mean, it's okay to be humble, but don't say, look, this track's our first attempt. You know, we fired up Ableton. We don't really know what we're doing. We went on Splice and we thought we'd give it a crack. They don't want to hear that, even if that's true. There's such a thing as being too honest.
I think I fail at that a lot. I'm always a little bit too honest sometimes. All right, so we've got about 8 minutes left. I'm sorry, boys. I've actually got to get off in 8 minutes. I would love to keep the conversation going forever, but I don't want to take up too much more of Mike's time.
We can do another round another time.
Yeah, mate. There's always time. There's always time
Round
for
two.
another sesh. I was just looking through these questions, and I think there's one more important one that I'd really love to sort of broach. Due to more and more music being consumed and created each day, and I think the numbers I recently saw, it's probably changed by now. It's 60,000 tracks uploaded to Spotify every single day. What is something you wish artists would do more?
Oof. You know, there's a few things I want to mention there. The number is much higher, but that's not to sort of shock and discourage.
I figured
artists.
it had definitely changed because I think the last time I'd heard the number was like 6 months ago.
Yeah, but the reality is, you know, the things we've talked about, submitting on Submit Hub, filling out these editorial forms, there's so many that aren't doing it. Whether it's laziness, they forgot, they became disheartened, they don't feel that it's actually going to do anything. That leaves it open for someone else. So, you know, I keep telling artists that. I keep saying this is important because you're not going to get a win every time. But if you're playing the long game, by adding this correct information with your release, you're making sure it travels to the right place and it reaches the right ears. And it doesn't mean that it's going to happen overnight, but it does mean that 1 year from now, you may see a large number of streams appear out of nowhere and you're on Discover Weekly, and you'll be glad that you did that. So I always tell artists, I say, look, this is not going to happen overnight. And anytime you see stuff like that, that track was probably recorded 6 months ago, and there was a team of people working in the background to make that happen. You know, even someone like Beyonce drops a track or an album overnight. That wasn't the case. There's no way that she was in the studio all night busting her ass recording that and, you know, torturing the engineers. Like, it was done. So, and the other thing is, I know that a lot of artists, you know, you spend weeks, months, years making a track before you're ready to put it out. Don't rush it and upload it to your distributor and say, put it out as soon as possible. You know, like, remember that all that time, all that heart, all that love you put into it, the more lead time you have, the more opportunity you're giving to that music as well. So they're the main things I want to say to artists. I mean, I know that there's advice out there, which is stuff like be everywhere, do everything. And it's like, that's impossible now. But I would just say, have an understanding of all of these things that are happening. Like, I signed up on TikTok, claimed my username, uploaded some goofy videos of our dog dancing, and did some stuff like that just to get an understanding for it. I'm not as active on there now, but I know how it works, and I know that I can check to make sure all of our music was distributed there, and I can see what videos it's being used in. You know, I am not as active on Facebook. I'm not as active on Insta as I should be, but I have a presence on there, and I will understand how they work. I would say to an artist that pick one or two platforms that work for you as far as showing up. You know, whether that's Twitch because you like to game, or you like to do long studio sessions and you like to talk people through what you're doing, whether that's Instagram because you like to just take a photo or a short video and post that up. You know, maybe you're really creative and fun and outgoing and TikTok works best for you. Whatever it is, do that and make that your platform where you focus most of your attention, as opposed to trying to be on every platform at once, because you'll just burn out and you'll find that you've become a full-time content creator instead of, you know, a musician, an artist, a producer, a DJ.
Yeah, I think I kind of say the best recipe is kind of like 60-40 in a sense. Is like you definitely need to, it's like a marketing budget. You need to allocate marketing time as part of your career. You can't just ignore it. And if you want to ignore it, just earn enough money so you can pay someone to do it for you.
Yeah.
It's like that's the two options you have. There's no in the middle where you're like, well, I just don't do it. Well, your music will never get heard. Sorry.
Yeah. And repurpose. I mean, I've seen people like right now, we've been talking for 1 hour. We could cut up so many videos from this, screenshots, little nuggets. We could use this audio in a podcast episode. There is no shame in doing that and spreading that out. So
we're going to, so don't worry.
You're welcome. You're welcome. I'm glad you are. You know, it's and that's what I say. You know, I mean, I've actually, to give you an idea, I've had conversations where, like this, where I've recorded content for someone's channel or podcast or whatever, and I've just set up my camera in front of the screen and recorded as well. So I've got extra content that I can chop up and use for other things. And they've said, go for it. Yeah, absolutely. So don't feel like you need to go and set yourself to go and record a video just for Instagram today. You may have recorded a conversation the other day and you can use part of that.
Yeah, totally. 100% agree. Love that.
Any final questions or words of wisdom, gents?
I had one quick question, and you can just, this could be a yes or no. Do pre-saves affect editorial and playlisting? People are pre-saving it.
On Spotify, no. And the reason I say that is Spotify don't have an official supported pre-save tool at this time. So what that means is you are giving people, well, so people would click a link and then they would give permission for you to access their Spotify account. It sounds scary, but it's not. You're basically saying, you can go into my Spotify account and put a song into my library or follow a playlist from my account. But what happens is that won't actually happen until release day, because it doesn't exist prior to that within Spotify. If you've ever got a link for a song 2 weeks early, 2 days before release, click on that link, nothing happens. It says it doesn't exist. So editorial aren't getting any back-end access to see that. They're just basically saying on release day, oh, 200 people saved this. It still looks cool, but the reality is that the programming is happening weeks in advance before that song goes live. So it's more of a good look than anything else. It's not necessarily going to get you a New Music Friday because all those pre-saves appeared that day. With Apple Music, with what we mentioned before, with you have an album coming out, instant gratification tracks, pre-ad is native in Apple Music. They do see that. So they will know that there is demand for that album. And they will also, because you've made those tracks available early, they will see how many people are going and listening to those tracks within that album. So it's almost like a no-brainer. It's like, well, 4 tracks from this album have already been released. People are adding them to their playlists and they're pre-adding the album after they hear them. You know, it's worth our while checking this out.
Yeah, awesome.
Cool.
Perfect.
Thank you so much. Yeah. Thank you so much for that. I, obviously went into a lot of detail there. That was perfect. Thank you so much for your time, Mike. Love you as always, buddy. I really, really appreciate you coming on. Always dropping a bunch of nuggets for everyone to, basically help out the future of their career and let them know, what they can do better and what they can be more consistent with. Jai, thank you so much for joining us. If everyone wants to check out Mike, his socials are there below. He is, of course, the author of Work Hard, Playlist Hard. That is available now in all good online bookstores. Which is
audiobook coming in 2 weeks.
Oh yeah, I saw you recording that. That's sick.
Oh,
it's done.
Yes, there we go. I'm gonna get that for sure.
If you want to follow along with our NFT project, Project DJ_NFT, and of course you can find Jai at Boy King Koi everywhere. He has a lot of. Jai is an artist here as well from Brisbane who has a lot of music out as well. So check that out. Thank you so much, guys. Have a lovely Wednesday in Australia. Thursday, was it Tuesday in America?
We're behind here.
Tuesday, yeah. So it's Tuesday.
Time zone wise.
Tuesday was good. You'll have a good day. Tuesday.
Anyone that's watching live now, of course, all this will be uploaded later to all our platforms. and I'll share all that with you, Mike, so you can share that as well. Thanks, guys.
Thanks,
Have a good
guys.
day.
Much love. Great to
Thanks,
see your
guys.
faces.
Have a
Yeah.
good one.
Leave. Now I just got to figure out how to end it.